So today I'm in the Holden Equinox LS. This one in particular has got 11,000 Ks on it. This is also known as the Chevrolet Equinox. So in other countries it's sold as a Chevrolet, but Holden's obviously rebadged this one. This is a mid-size SUV, so it's obviously competes in that big mid-size market there. So what I'm going to do is, as usual, I'm going to take you through what I think of the car, take you through some of the options that this particular model has. So the options that this car has is it's got some of the basic options, such as you've got the automated flipping mirrors here. So when you lock the car, notice the mirrors didn't flip, but I can actually press a button and make the mirrors flip here. This one's got manual seats, so no automated seating here. The dash, which I'll show you once we get out of the car, have a look, and then go back in and have a look at the inside when I'm stopped, is fairly simple, fairly basic. You've just got your sort of pretty standard speedo, revs, and then your standard other gauges like your fuel and your temperature, and then a bit of a trip computer there as well. The steering wheel here has the usual controls. The only really difference is your volume control, which I'll talk a bit about later, which is behind the steering wheel there instead of in front of you. We've got also, this one's got things like automated headlights. So it's funny when you step into these cars and you realise that, expensive European cars that were going for over $100,000, you had to pay for some of these extras that these cars are coming with standard these days. And it was only 5 years ago that you were paying to have additional extras, such as automated high beam, which is basically dips the high beams when a car's coming the other way. I haven't tested them to see how good this one's on this one. It's during the day, so I can't really test it there. It's also got things like your blind spot sensors there. So a lot of the cars these days are coming out with those blind spot sensors, but they're all standard technology that you get in the car today. You've got other things in this car which a few years ago weren't so standard, such as you've got the emergency brake alert. So basically, if I get too close to a car that looks like it's slowed down and I haven't slowed down, it'll start beeping at me, and there's this red light that will come out just above my face here, and will reflect on the windscreen to say, to alert me that I probably need to slow down as well. So, as I said, this is a basic model, so it doesn't have too many exciting features on it. It doesn't even have climate control on it, just got your standard air conditioning here. It's got Tiptronic, which is quite the weird Tiptronics I'll talk about later when I can actually show you, which is on top of the actual gear stick, which is a bit strange. Things like your automatic handbrake here, with the handbrake switch on here. All in all, I think the car feels a bit plasticky and a bit cheap inside. So it could, I guess, the model which I've driven the model up from this, which has got the 2 litre, this has got the 1.5 litre engine in it, the 4-cylinder. It looks a bit more special, but still, it lacks the finish of some of those, like the Mazda or obviously the European cars do there. So you hop into it and it sort of doesn't look like a massively expensive car. One of the other features when I hired the model that was up from this, which I thought was pretty cool, I'd never seen on the car before, which this one doesn't have, is if you put it in reverse, it would start to vibrate the bottom of your seat when you started getting closer to the car behind you, but this one doesn't have it. The car rides really well, so it's very smooth. I'm currently on the highway at the moment, so I'd expect it to be smooth, but even adulations, bumps, you're not feeling that much, so it's a very comfortable car to drive. Steering feels quite good, doesn't feel too heavy, doesn't feel too light. The fuel consumption, I'd be a bit concerned about if I own this car. So I have been driving this on the highway for about 45 minutes now, and it's still telling me that it's only on about 8.3 litres per 100 kilometres. So for a 1.5 litre 4-cylinder, I would kind of expect it to be more fuel efficient than that, especially on the highway. So that's probably a bit of a disappointing factor of it. And I can already see, and I don't feel like I've driven that much, that the tank's coming on to 3/4 of a tank at the moment. It's got what else have we got here? So we've got things like that really come standard, like the automatic wipers, automatic lights. You've got one USB connection here, and yeah, I mean that's pretty much it from the inside in terms of how the actual little 1.5 engine performs. So the 2-litre version of this is very impressive. Like it, the first time I put my foot down, I was really quite impressed about the acceleration. Then read up later that apparently it's one of the quickest mid-size SUVs in its class, which kind of made sense. This one, although not as quick as a 2-litre, isn't too bad. It's definitely not as quick as that 2-litre engine, but it's still, when you need to put your foot down and go, it still goes at a reasonable pace. So I definitely wouldn't call it a slow version of the engine, or a slow car. I mean, one of the other features I'll just quickly mention before I close out here is the sound system that I was really impressed with. So this has just got a standard sound system. As I said, this is the lowest of the models that you can get in this, but the bass was very impressive on it. And I was in an Outlander the other week, and the Outlander, its stereo system was very disappointing, very tinny, and this stereo system just completely walks all over it. So if you're into that, it does have quite a good standard stereo system there. Yeah, so all in all, I think it's a nice car to drive. Probably for me, I think it's a bit too basic, but I could definitely live with it. It could be comfortable on a long journey. You know, you've got your front, your rear, and your rear camera, rear front sensors, rear sensors, and then the rear camera. So parking wise, good. The car's obviously not small, so you know you're not going to be able to get into too many tight spots. And it's very easy to drive here. Steering wheel is quite comfortable to hold here, and at the moment I've had no issues, and I felt it handled all right. When I haven't really gone around too many tight bends this time, but when I drove the model up from this, I thought it was handling reasonably well as well for an SUV. So definitely, if you are in the market for a mid-size SUV, I definitely recommend having a look at this. If you do like the premium finishing of, say, like the European, but if you go to the slightly cheaper Japanese cars like the Mazda and that, this is definitely not one of the cars that will have a nice finish off like a Mazda. But as I said, if that doesn't really bother you, I think everything else is quite good in this car. And you know, compared to say the Outlander, which I've driven, the Kia SUV and the similar cars that I've driven, and also the Hyundai iX30 I've driven, which is also would be considered in this same class. This is, I would say, more comfortable with them. You've got more room in it than you do, say, the Kia. It's probably not as big as the Outlander in the back, but I think it drives just as well as the Outlander, which I'm quite impressed with, the Mitsubishi Outlander, which I'm quite impressed with myself. So yeah, we'll pull the car over, and then I'll take you around the outside of the car, and then I'll take you back in the inside, and then you can see some of the features that I was talking about. So just going to take you around the Holden Equinox. So you can see the 17-inch wheels on there. See, it's more of a mid-size car there. The sizing here. Take you around the back. I'll show you the back of the car here. No exhaust there. They're hidden just under the bumper. And we'll take you around the other side here. Take it a bit further back so you can see the whole car. Go, a bit of a look at the car from there, from the side there, and then I'm going to take you around the front of the car so you can have a look at the front of the car there as well. A bit of a big grille there, you can see. The lights are the very sort of Chev looking lights there at the front, and then it's got the fog lights down there on the bottom. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you inside the actual car so I can show you some of the features that I've been talking about while driving the actual car. So it's got the proximity here entry, but you've actually got to, it's not as good as some of the European cars, you've actually got to press on the actual silver button here to get it open. As you can see, and now it's letting me in. So the seats I do like, they're very sporty, and they tuck you in, well, quite nicely there. So I'll take you inside the car here. I'll show you the dash here, and I'll show you around there. That's the display. I'll turn the car on so you can actually see it displaying there. You can see there it's got the radio setting at the moment. It's got the home setting there, and you've got audio projection, which I don't know what that actually does. I think goes onto, actually that's CarPlay when I've got the phone plugged in. And then you've just got the Net phone menu here with numbers on there, and then your settings. So fairly basic there. Not too many options here. Now I go down the gear stick, and I was telling you about before the Tiptronic in a weird place here. So you can see it's right here. So if I want to go up or down a gear, so it's a bit of a strange place, and definitely not too sporty here. Now the volume buttons on this steering wheel actually, but you can't see them, they're actually behind where my hand is here. So that's puts the volume up and down, and then behind here on the other side here, you can actually just change the radio station and stuff there. So where they have some other different features on the steering wheel there. So I'm not quite sure what these do. They will tell me I can go through different screens here on the trip computer. That's what that does. So some different options there. Then obviously the phone and the speaker here, and then there's a lane assist here, and then you've got your cruise control settings here. So that's the passenger seat there. What I'll take you in, what I'll do is I'll take you around into the rear of the car. So I'll just turn the car back off. It doesn't seem that it likes me. It's telling me I've left the remote in the car, but it's in my pocket, so it's not in the car. Okay, so hopping in the back here, quite some good leg room here, quite a reasonable amount, definitely good for a family. You've got another adapter here, a cigarette lighter that you can sort of put a USB adapter or something like that in there. As I said, looks fairly basic in here, but you know, definitely more than enough room for a family in here. Just open the boot now, so we're going to look in. It's a reasonable size boot there. You can see it's probably not as big as the Outlander I had the other week. I'm just sort of looking here if this has got, there's no spare wheel in there, which is weird. No 7 seats. I thought this might be one that you can actually have 7 seats in. And then another cigarette lighter there. And then this one doesn't come with the cargo cover, but you can see you could put a cargo cover in there. A few little consoles there, I'm not sure what they're used for. And obviously if you had a net in here, I think that's where the net would attach to. The boot is manual, so no automatic switch there. So yeah, that's the whole